Well, guys, welcome back. Thought about it for a minute. I'm not going anywhere. And that's the good news. So, let's get right into today's video. Today's video, guys, is our typical video where we bring out somebody from my chat room, go through their statement, talk about their progress in the stock market and their success, if they're obviously showing success. And today I have something special for you. Somebody from the US, and it's very rare to see somebody from the US on my channel. Maybe they're shy, but I don't know what it is. A lot of people don't like to talk about their finances, obviously, in public, but I appreciate these guys for coming out. Obviously, it motivates a lot of you and obviously gives you guys an understanding of what other people are doing and what's working for other people. Thomas here, guys, we actually introduced his statement about 6 months ago on this channel, where we brought out his statement, talked about how he more than doubled his account under the PDT rule. Now, obviously, he's grown that account even further. But what I want to do in this video is actually introduce you to something else he's doing, which is focusing on futures. Now, focusing on futures, or what is futures for those watching? Well, futures is basically trading the overall stock market instead of trading specific stocks. So, trading the overall stock market with headlines and news is easier than trading stocks with headlines and news, because really, the overall stock market is going in one direction based on what's happening within this stock market, whether it's the NASDAQ, whether it's the Dow Jones. And it's easier in general to trade macroeconomics just because it's just straightforward. But obviously, nothing is straightforward in the stock market. So let's go through his statement, and then we'll go on a Zoom call together. He can talk to you guys even further. But let's get the smashy in. How about that? So here's his statement, guys. And looking at his statement, his closed trade P&L was 3,761. That's almost 100% return on investment, guys. Now, you're going to say, how can you do that? Well, obviously, when you're using leverage, it's easy. And that's what he does. He uses leverage. Now, leverage is very risky, obviously, if you don't know what you're doing. And as a beginner, you should try to avoid it. But almost 100% return on investment. This was March's statement. And here's what he's trading, guys. He's trading the FTSE 100, the DJ 30, which is the Dow Jones. And that's all he trades, just these two contracts, futures, indices. And you can see, guys, his profits was almost 4,000. Well, he withdrew 4,150, but closed trade P&L for this month, I believe March, was 3,700. So that's his statement. Let's go talk to Thomas even further, and maybe you can learn a thing or two of what he's actually focused on or what he's doing. So, Thomas, let's talk about a few things. 6 months ago, we made a video on your statement. You weren't involved in that video, but you gave me your statement where you had basically doubled your 10,000 account, or I think, what was it, doubled or?
A little more.
A little more than doubled. And we went through the statement, and it was okay-ish, right? It was sluggish at the beginning because it took a lot of reds and a lot of greens, but then you had a full few months of just greens. Now, obviously, your account is doing pretty good on that kind of broker, nearing almost 6 figures. However, you are dabbling with something else, and you're saying that you find it easier, and that's going to be your niche going forward, and that is futures. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So you also sent me a statement for how you're doing recently with futures. So before you talk to me about anything, right, tell me about you, your story, where you're from, where you are today, what you're doing, and where you see yourself, and what are you trading currently. And at the end, I'm going to leave a few tips. Obviously, that's what I like to do in these videos, is have you give tips to everybody that's watching. Tell me, you're beginning as a trader. How did you get into it? What did you find? Whatever. I'll let you do the talking.
Man, it started out with me. I was at work one day and I was like, damn, this sucks, and it was during COVID. I was bartending. So of course I'm only doing like takeout, right? So there's no one there. And they're like, hey, and my boss was like, you can go on your phone and do what you want to do. Bad for them, because I went on my phone and I ended up seeing a video that said how to make 500 a day in the stock market. So I clicked on it, and there's this Irish guy talking, and he basically goes over, he tells you how to do everything A to Z. And I was like, there's no way this can happen. Let's see how easy this is. And he had, you gave the analysis and you made the money. And I was like, what? And I started watching every video after that. And then I remember, I think I told this in the review I gave too. And I went to your website and I watched your video. And at the very end, you were saying that you're always going to be there and you talk to everybody because you're a real person.
Yes, sir.
And I think that stuck with me because there's so many people out there that you'll never hear from ever again. So I end up, I started brand new in that course, lost like everybody else, man. Everything's going so fast. And then, yeah, man, it's just started from there. And I mean, the rest is history, man. And I started out with stocks, made good money.
So you started with stocks initially?
Yes, sir. Started with stocks, earning reports, same strategy you do. And then I ended up working up to futures. And I still use the same strategy you do. I scalp the futures.
Yeah. So you're scalping. So for those that don't know what scalping is, it's basically taking that big candle move, right? So you're not waiting, let's say you're not swing trading, are you?
I mean, I think you remember that story, the one time I tried swing trading.
Yeah.
So, and that's for another video maybe, but I took a big loss swing trading, and it's just one of those things I just stuck with what I know best.
So you're scalping futures now?
Yes, sir.
And you're using the news and whatnot, obviously, to just like you would with stocks.
Yeah, using the news, using your patterns, this price action, and getting out, not staying in too long.
Yeah. So tell me, what did you like? What is your average? What are you bringing in to?
I average about a little bit over 4,000 a month with futures.
And what is the capital on that? Because that's just futures. What? Because you're doing something else with that other broker with stocks that you're growing. Sir. But this new broker with futures, what is your actual capital?
I usually use between 3,500 to 4,000. Of money that I'm using
with your capital.
Yes, sir. But I use a lot of leverage. So
leverage. So what would so leverage, obviously. So you're basically making 100% return on investment, right?
That's the goal.
Basically 100%. Now to say that to anybody is like, that's crazy. You can never make 100% return on investment a month. Now, obviously, you're using leverage. There is risk, but your risk management is very good, I assume. Correct?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Yeah,
it's the hardest part of the game, but it's there now.
And how many trades would you be taking a day?
I find myself if I take more than 4 or 5 trades, I find myself not having as good of a return as if I just stuck with 3 trades or 4 trades.
Yeah. So,
but I do my best to do less than 5 because when I do anything, if I do more than 5 trades, then that's usually when things go not my way.
So, where do you see yourself? I guess in the next, what are you planning on doing? You're planning on scaling or just continue scalping and whatnot? What's your plan? Obviously, you've now become a mentor on my chat room, part of the Monopoly Trading School, and you're gonna try to help those who are interested in futures also. But for you on the side, what are you gonna be doing with your future? Are you gonna scale it, or do you just pull out the money and just stay with that specific capital so you don't risk oversizing and then again just destroyed in one bad trade?
Yeah, I think that's the reason I don't keep a lot of capital in there is because it keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
But every month, the months that go by, I do find myself, my position sizes are getting a little bigger. So I do feel like in the next month or 2, I will be comfortable as a trader to be able to up my positioning and to actually really push it to the limit a little more.
But
I want to make it to where.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, eventually the goal is to try to make $1,000 a day, like a very good goal. Very a
That's what I'm
profitable
about
book.
to say. I'm saying you're we spoke about this earlier. You said you're very conservative with the way you trade. Because look, 4,000 a month is like, that's not a lot to a lot of people. It's like, but that's only with futures. Obviously, you're doing something else on the side. But you
Yeah.
know, when somebody hears about 4,000 a month, it's like that's not enough. You know. But listen, this is conservative. This is somebody trading with 4,000 capital, obviously with leverage. If you want 10,000 a month, then you're obviously going to be risking taking huge losses at the same time. But you might get the bigger reward if you're good at what you do. So, what advice would you give beginners out there who are generally interested in trading futures, um, but don't know where to go? I mean, do you feel like it's easier than trading stocks? Um, do you think that is different to trading stocks? Those are the two questions I have.
Is it different than trading stocks? Yeah, I feel like with futures, man, you could blow your account in a day with futures because the moves are so big. You
Mm.
know, if you use, even if you use like, you barely use leverage. I mean, if the Dow tanks 400 points, I mean, you could lose everything, you
Yeah,
know. So with stocks, I feel like it does, mostly it stays in like, there's not as many big moves. But with futures too, I just feel like it reacts more to headlines.
yeah,
So,
true.
you know, if you see something on Twitter or on the news, I mean, there's an instant reaction. You know, like we saw last Friday, the non-farm payroll came out, and immediately in pre-market, we saw a 200-point drop.
Mm.
And it's like, and then after that, the yields went down, and we saw a 200-point pump. So it's just like, there's always moves on futures. You know, if you miss one move, there's going to be another one. You just got to let it come to you.
Yeah,
So that's why I like futures. There's just so many moves you can make. There's so much money out there that, you know, there's plays all over the place.
I agree. I agree. Another one would be, what was the other question? I almost forgot what I asked you earlier. Is it different? And the other one, do you think it's easier? So do you think it's
I,
easier than trading stocks?
I think it's easier, you know, but when I say easier, it doesn't mean it is easier. It's just, it takes time. But
Everything takes time, you know.
for me,
It's
once you get to a certain level, it is easier, especially when you have done stocks, especially going through what, you know, in the beginning with you, just seeing how everything moves. I think it did prepare me for futures, which is easier because of what I went through with stocks.
I agree. Well, now you guys can carry the torch for those watching. I'm no longer involved in the mentoring. It's now Thomas and Michael. And obviously, I will have my game plan shared, but these guys will be taking care of everybody who's on the inside. And obviously, there's other members in there who are experienced and they like to help as well. But, you know, I retire in this case. You guys can carry the torch. Um, that's it for today. Thank you very much. Wishing you the best of luck going forward. Hopefully, you get to make more of these trades that you do on your own YouTube channel that you actually have, which I'll actually link in, in the description of my video. I think these videos help a lot of people, especially beginners, in understanding the realistic expectations, what to expect realistically, the returns, and the process we go through. And I think your journey is just like everybody else's journey. And obviously, results are not typical. You know, it's different for everybody else.
And
So, anything else you want to say?
yeah, so the statement that's in there, it's March, and it wasn't my best and it wasn't my worst. You know, I just want everyone to know I sent Zed that statement on March is because if you were a part of the Discord or if you're a trader in general, March was one of the hardest months for traders, and so I wanted to send that March statement to show you that if you're consistent, no matter how the market is, you can make money. And I know Zed, you know, he ain't gonna say it, but people were doubting him, you know, because the market wasn't going the way anyone thought it would. But you got to stick by him, stick with us guys. You know, I never ever once like, you know, lost faith in him, and that's what you got to do, guys. You know, he's always there, man. Don't give up.
And that's why you're here where you are. Anyways, gotta go.
See you next time. Thanks, Thomas. See you later,
All right,
guys.
see you, man.
Peace.
Keep pushing, keep learning. Try to manage risk. Don't get just sucked in by the idea that you can make money. Look at this statement, it's beautiful. We've seen losses here. Now, he was good at risk management. If his risk management was bad, then he would wipe out everything. And that's something we need to kind of be aware of as beginners also. See you next time. And as always, don't forget that smashy, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.